सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। So, we are currently studying the verses on the topic Adhikaritvam. Adhikaritvam means Jnana Yogyata. So, what are the qualifications necessary for the pursuit of Moksha Vidya? So, Acharya Adi Shankaracharya spends a lot of time here, and starting from the 14th shloka all the way up to 30 is devoted to the fourfold qualifications, also called as Sadhana Chatushtayam, or the 4 Ds: discrimination, Viveka; dispassion, and that is Vairagyam; then Shakka Sampattihi, the 6 disciplines; and finally desire for liberation or Mumukshutvam. So we completed the Shakka Sampattihi in the last session, and so just a quick recap. What is Vivekaha? Tattvabodha definition was Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha. And Acharya Adi Shankaracharya expands it and says the Viveka is Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. So what is that one Atma Tattvam that is independently existing, non-negatable in the 3 periods of time? That is Brahma, that is Satyam. Then what is Jagat? Jagat is Mithya, that is, it has a relative Satyatvam. It is subject to change. It is Agama Payanaha, subject to arrival and departure. So if we are clear about these two, Nityam Brahma and Anityam Jagat, then that is the Viveka stage. Now this Viveka will take us to an enhanced state called Vairagyam. How does Adi Shankaracharya define Vairagyam? Jihasa. Jihasa means Hatum Ichha. And Hatum Ichha means the desire to give up. To give up what? The longing or the cravings for objects of enjoyment, either here in this janma, in this body, in this loka, or the desire to be somewhere else at a later point of time. So that is the Vairagyam. Now Vairagyam, the word sounds very intimidating, but we have to understand it as a healthy distancing, a healthy, emotionally independent approach to life, without Shobhana Adhyasa. Now, Shobhana Adhyasa means I do not want to exaggerate the value of anything in the world which is fleeting. So, I enjoy and make use of the things in the Jagat, but at the same time, I will not attach 100% importance or reality to Jagat. That state would be called Vairagyam. Then we saw the Shakka Sampattihi, the 6-fold inner wealth. We also saw other 4 qualifications, Medha, Shakti, who is a Vidwan, who is a Purushaha, Uha, Poha, Vichakshanaha. But here we are talking about the inner wealth. And there we saw the 6 disciplines, starting from Shamaha. Shamaha, Damaha, Uparatihi, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. These are the 6-fold qualities. Briefly, let's go through it again. Shamaha is the mastery over the mind. And Acharya says that when we bring the mind and turn it away from all the external objects towards its source, that is Atma, that would be the sadhana called Shamaha. Yato yato nischarati manaschanchalamassthiram tatastato niyam etad atmanyeva vasham nayet. Gita chapter 6. In Dhyana Yoga we have seen this. in shloka form. So from whatever object that the mind is running towards, may one master it and bring it back to the source, the center, the Atma Tattva. This is called Shama. This is followed by Damaha. What is Damaha? Damaha is at the level of the sense organs and the body. In other words, it is tapas. So whenever we do some tapas like maunam or fasting, then we are restraining the sense organs and to abide in the golakas. Golakas are the physical counterpart. That is not too much of browsing, viewing, not too much listening, and not too much talking or eating. All this kind of tapas will fall under Damaha, Indriya Nigraha. Then we saw Uparati. The word Uparati means withdrawal. Withdrawal. And here Adi Shankaracharya gave the definition Bahya Analambanam Vrittehi, which means, am I leaning on anything in the world? Am I psychologically dependent on any external object, including the body, over which we have no control? If I am not, then I am in a state of Uparatihi, withdrawal. So this withdrawal or Uparatihi means to be very steady and focused in life. Absence of external emotional dependence. Then the last, Titiksha. Titiksha was defined as Sahanam, Sarva Dukkhanam, the power of endurance, to go through a tough, challenging, unavoidable, choiceless situation in life without complaining. Titiksha. The ability to stay with the situation. Now, Titiksha does not mean I become a doormat. Anybody can say anything and just trample me. No. This is referring to those situations which are getting unfolded by my prarabdha and where I really have no choice. So then, Titiksha. Krishna also says, Tan Titikshasva he Bharata. So Titiksha will give me that inner strength, emotional strength. Then we saw the value of Shraddha. Now, Shraddha is a very important qualification. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. But what is really Shraddha? Supposing I tell you, look at the lotus in my hand, this beautiful lotus. What will you think? Where is the lotus? A lotus is not there. Why do you say that? Because you have Shraddha, commitment only in your eyes. You will not believe whatever I say. Right? So that Satya Buddhi is there for you in your eyes. That the eyes are the Pratyaksha Pramana for you. Now if I say, look at this highlighter pen. Yeah? And you say, yes, I can see it. So you are ready to accept that I am holding a pen in the hand. So this is what Shraddha is. Acharya defines it as Satya Buddhi, Pramana Buddhi, in the words of the Guru, unfolding the words of the Shastra. Do I have 100% Shraddha that the Shabda Pramana, Shastras, is the only Pramana, the only way to gain Moksha Vidya? Then that is, Shraddha is complete. Now, we may have some degree of Shraddha, We are not ready to accept everything Shastra says. That is fine. But I will not dismiss the Guru or negate the Shastras just because I am not able to keep pace with it. So I have to re-examine my mind and see, what is the problem internally? Why am I not able to accept this statement of the Shastra? So all this will be included in the Shraddha. So in short, Shraddha is, do I have an open, willing, trusting mind towards the Shastra Shravanam? Then we saw Samadhanam. Samadhanam is the last of the sixfold wealth. And samadhana means samyak adhanam. That is placing. Acharya says sthapanam. Sthapanam means to place the mind in Shuddhe Brahmani, in the pure Nirguna Brahma Tattvam, or in the Atma, placing it in the Atma. So the steady abidance, no? Atma samstam manakritva nakinchidapi chintayet. Again Gita, Krishna has said that the wise will steadily abide in the source. And when the mind steadily abides there, it is called samadhana. Yeah? And natu chittasya lalanam comes in that verse on samadhanam. Now chittasya lalana means just to temporarily pacify the mind. You know, the mind is like a child. A child will demand, give me balloons, give me chocolate, give me this, give me that. So sometimes a frustrated parent, just to silence the mind, it will give whatever it's wanting or shouting for. But here, samadhanam is not that. Samadhanam is a deliberate, steady abidance in the Atma Tattvam, knowing very well the limitations and defects in the external pursuits. So, Viveka and Vairagyam all the way through. Yeah? So, that was the first 3 Ds that we have completed. Now, we will move on to the 4th D, and that is the most important, Acharya Shankara will say, that is mumukshutvam. So the definition of mumukshutvam begins in verse 27. So let us read that verse first. Ahankaradi dehantan bandhana jnana kalpitan swaswarupavabodhena moktumichhamumukshuta ahankaradi dehantan bandhan ajnana kalpitan swaswarupa avabodhena moktum ichha mumukshuta. Now here Acharya is going to define what do you mean by mumuksha. What is the word here? Mumukshuta. Now mumukshuta and mumukshutvam mean the same. The nature of the desire for liberation, freedom. Now people have all kinds of notions about moksha, is it not? For some, moksha is after this life, after death. For some, it is some remote loka like Vaikuntha, Goloka, Vrindavan, Kailas. No? And there are various notions. No? But here, Acharya is going to define mumukshutvam as moktum ichha, the desire to free oneself, the desire to release. So really, moksha means tyaga, to give up something. And what are we giving up? Bandhanam, bondage. So that word tan bandhan, the bondages. What kind of bondages? Ahankara adi dehan tan bandhan. We'll come to all these words, which are all due to ignorance. Ajnana kalpitan bandhan. Okay. Now in life, we all know that only a human being is entitled to the 4 purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Now, why does one become a artharthi or kamarthi or dharmarthi? Why do we seek dharma, artha, kama? Because we want security and happiness. And so, we all have short-term goals, long-term goals, and we want to achieve name, fame, power, status, wealth, property, relationships, or Svargaloka later. Punyam we want to accumulate through, punya karmas. All these things are there. Now, the Shastra is asking us to examine these pursuits and to find out that who is this I that is struggling, that is finite, that is limited, and that is seeking all these goals. Now, is that insecure, wanting, limited I satisfied at some point? And so now here we can connect to the Mundaka Upanishad mantra. Parikshalokan karmajitan brahmanaha nirvedam ayat nasti akritaha kritena tadvijnanartham gurumeva vigachet shrotriyam brahmanishtam samipanihi. Very well known mantra. So we find that at some stage when Viveka comes, then what is the understanding? The understanding is that no matter how much artha and kama I have enjoyed, how much ever punyam I have accumulated, has it made me secure? On the contrary, maybe we are more insecure because there is a fear of preservation, the fear to maintain what I have achieved in all these years. So if that fundamental sense of insecurity has not gone despite the pursuits of dharma, artha and kama, then what is the solution? So now we come to the Parama Purushartha, which is Moksha Purushartha, which is a negative gain. It is freedom from seeking, freedom from being a wanting, insecure person. So we have heard this many times, how the Shastra says, you are Purnam, you are the nature of fullness. Whatever you are seeking, you already are that. Only out of ignorance you are seeking. So, look at the verse now. Ahankaradi dehan tan bandhan. So, what is the ignorance here? In the form of I notion. So, this ahankara, who's the ahankara? The I notion. Adi. So, I am placing the I in some anitya vastu. The body or the mind, or in my possessions, my home, my car, my garden, my pets, my children. So, where is that ahankara placed? Ahankaradi dehan. So, Acharya says tan bandhan. So, to give up that misplaced I notion in all of these is the desire to give up. Now we all know very well, when I is placed in all these limited finite entities, what are our conclusions? I am tall, short, dark, fair, fat, thin, young, old, mortal, restless, anxious, guilty, hurt, thirsty, tired, and so on. So we are identified with the state of the bodies and their extensions. This belongs to me, this is my family, and so on, and their attributes and their qualifications. So Acharya says, this is all due to what? Ajnana kalpitan tan bandhan. So this bandhanam, this bondage is due to adhyasa, ignorance. Ajnana kalpitan. Ignorance of the real nature of I, which is Atma, Ananda Sarupa Atma. Now in deep sleep, do we not enjoy the moksha? So we all are enjoying the Ananda Rupa Atma Moksha Sarupaha without doing anything. So without any bodies, no time, space, no vyavahara, no world, we are all blissfully enjoying our Atma Sarupa in deep sleep. Only problem is we are enjoying it ignorantly, passively, we do not know. And so, what is the solution here? The solution for coming out of this situation, the second line shows us that. Acharya says, Swa-swarupa avabodhena. Avabodhena means by gaining knowledge. Gaining knowledge of what? Swa-swarupa. You cannot have a more compact answer. By gaining the essential nature, one's own nature, Swarupa Jnanam, Swaswarupa Bodhena, what? There is moksha. So Moktum Iksha is Mumuksha. Mumuksha is the desire to give up. The desire to give up, and to give up all these notions arising from the misplaced I notion. And ahankaradi dehan tan bandhan ajnana kalpitan swaswarupa avabodhena moktum ichcha mumukshuta. So, it's very important to understand here that it is not enough to be a mumukshu. Yeah, if I am a mumukshu, I want to be free. But have I come to knowledge to be free? So the conversion from mumuksha to jignasa is important. So I can think that, okay, moksha, I want to be free, alright, but maybe freedom, moksha is about going to Swarga, moksha is about doing seva. Moksha is about meditation alone? No. Clearly Acharya says, Swaswarupa avabodhena jnanameva mokshaha. Only by gaining knowledge through Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam is, can one gain the moksha swarupa. Hence the desire to be free leads one to the desire for knowledge. That is the shloka. Ahankaradi dehantan bandhan ajnana kalpitan swaswarupa avabodhena moktum ichcha mumukshuta. Now let us go to the 28th verse. So Acharya is going to spend a few verses showing us the degrees of mumukshutvam that are there. And what are the feeble, lukewarm mumukshutvam, and what is tivra mumukshutvam, all that we are going to see now. Let's go to 28th verse. Mandhamadhyama rupapi vairagyena samadhina prasada guru seyam pravriddha suyate phalam. Now, Acharya is going to ask us of these fourfold qualifications, Viveka, Vairagya, Shatka, Sampatti and Mumukshutvam, which is the most important. That is revealed now, and it is, of course, Mumukshutvam. Manda Madhyama Rupa Api. It's not Papi. Rupa Api. Manda Madhyama Rupa Api. Vairagyena Shamadina Prasada Guruho Sa iyam pravriddha suyate phala. So Adi Shankaracharya is telling that this mumukshutvam, what is the degree of mumukshutvam? Is it manda? Manda means feeble, lukewarm, you can say. 15% we have mumukshutvam, and I have 100 other priorities, and moksha is the last priority in life. So that's a feeble mumukshutvam. Then madhyama mumukshutvam is mediocre. There is some mumukshutvam, but it is not intense. It is not uttama mumukshutvam. So here the word uttama is not there, but we can add it. So just like we have adhikaris, adhama, madhyama, uttama, here mumukshutvam is talked about. Mandha, madhyama, uttama mumukshutvam. So even if Acharya is telling, even if the mumukshutvam or the desire for moksha is feeble, lukewarm or mediocre, it can get upgraded. It can be improved. How? Vairagyena, Shamadina and Guru Kripa. Very important. Guru Kripa. Look at the verse Sa Iyam. That Sa refers to mumukshuta from the earlier verse. So the degree of mumukshutvam, pravriddha, grows, can expand, can become, more intense by the other qualifications, by enhancing vairagyam and developing the shakta sampattihi. Shamadina, vairagyena, note they are in Tritiya by that. And of course, most important, Guru Kripa. And what else? Suyate phalam. And one will definitely get the moksha phalam. So we all know that moksha phalam is directly proportional to the degree of mumukshutvam. If the desire for liberation is tivra, uttama, intense, then moksha will be there. But if it is manda madhyama, then it has to be enhanced. So Adi Shankaracharya is talking about how this mumukshutvam, if it is feeble mumukshutvam means what? Then I will only have a casual approach towards the Shastras. Then my mind will give me excuses for not attending Zoom classes. I am not feeling well, it is Adi Vellikarma, I have to travel, I have guests, there is no power, there is no internet, IPL cricket match, on and on and on. So the mind will put so many excuses. And one will have a casual approach towards Shastra. Serious approach will not be there if the mumukshutvam is manda, feeble. But if the mumukshutvam is intense, which is tivra, then one will have a value for moksha. So then there will be consistent shravanam, mananam, nididhyasnam. One will, churn the reflections, teachings in the mind and be regular in attendance. One will do a lot of mananam. And that shows that one has a value for moksha. Yeah. But Acharya also says that this lukewarm, feeble, manda mumukshutvam can become stronger if we take care of these factors. One factor is vairagyam. Develop vairagyam. And we saw earlier, vairagyam is jihasa. The desire to give up the craving, longing for objects of enjoyment either here or hereafter in some loka. How do I give up? Dosha darshanam. What is dosha darshanam? Seeing the limitation and defects in the pursuit of worldly enjoyments. That is one way to increase the mumukshutvam. It's just like a tennis player. Then the tennis player may have a very low ranking, but due to intense discipline, then the tennis player will climb up the ladder and then one day become the top seeds player. Yeah, the highest. So mumukshutvam is also like that. Initially, all our priorities, office work, parenting, home, shopping, laundry, banking, all this will be there. So what we will do? Oh, Swamini Amma is uploading all the links in YouTube. So let me listen to it later. What is the hurry now? Now let me take care of other things. So this is the Manda Madhyama Mumukshutvam. Puja Swamiji in our earlier courses would never allow recording for this reason. Because when we record the sessions, then we postpone the understanding. The mind is free to roam about. And there will be a casual approach to the class. Yeah? But then when we listen to the recording, then we may not have the same intensity of Shravanam at that time. So that is why the best course is to listen to live sessions as much as possible. Yeah? So what is the second factor which will increase our mumukshutvam? Shamadamadi shakka sampatihi. All that we just saw, shamaha, damaha, uparatihi, titiksha, shraddha, samadhanam. There's a checklist and then I can strive to improve those qualifications. Then also my mumukshutvam will rise up. Then comes a third factor which is the most important. Adi Shankara says it is Guru Kripa. Guroho Prasada. Now, the Guru is of course committed to the Shastras. So the Guru is very consistent and wants to pull the Shishyas into deeper and higher levels of understanding. So when the Guru Kripa is there, all the obstacles can also be removed. And the Guru is constantly thinking of the Shishyas. What can I do so that the Shishyas become free of obstacles and they will be drawn to this line, they have more Shraddha. All this is the Guru's Chintanam. How can I make the classes easy? So Guru is constantly thinking about the students' life and wishing welfare for them. And we saw this in the story of Totakashtakam. Remember Totaka, the simple, humble Shishya who had so much Guru Bhakti. But he was not intellectually very accomplished like Sureshwaracharya, Hastamalakacharya, Padmapadacharya, who have written bhashyas and who could understand all the advanced texts. But then Adi Shankaracharya blessed his mind. That is the Guru Kripa. And Totaka composed the Totakashtakam and in the Totaka meter. So that shows that if I have Shraddha and Bhakti towards the Guru, and if I strive to improve these qualifications, no matter what the obstacles in life, that Guru Kripa will lift me out of all of them and bring me on the Moksha Marga and make the Mumukshutvam Tivra Mumukshutvam. That is the idea of this shloka, and the Phalam Suyate. Phalam will also be there. Let's see the shloka again. Mandamadhyama rupapi vairagyena samadhina prasada guru seyam pravriddha suyate phalam. Pravriddha means there will be vriddhi, growth. Prakarshena vriddhi bhavati. There will be growth in the degree of mukshutvam if we have vairagyam and Shamadhi Shakta Sampattihi, and we have earned the grace of the Guru. What about Viveka is not mentioned here? Now you all know Viveka, Vairagya go together. They are twins. And Vairagya is only enhanced Viveka. So all of them are included here. Now let's go to the 29th shloka, where Acharya will mention 2 important qualifications out of the 4. Vairagyam cha mumukshutvam tivram yasya tu vidyate asminnevarthavantasyuhu phalavantash shamadayah. Vairagyam cha mumukshutvam tivram yasya tu vidyate. Asmineva arthavantaha syuhu phalavantaha shamadayah. Now here Acharya says that he picks up 2 qualifications. He says not only mumukshutvam, but let us take vairagyam also. Mumukshutvam cha vairagyam tivram yasya. For whom these 2 are, the top priority. They are tivra, they are intense. Then yasya tu vidyate. Then what? Asmin eva arthavantah. In that person, asmin eva, all the shamadeyaha, shamaha, damaha, uparatihi, all this wealth, everything will become arthavantaha, meaningful. And what else? Phalavantaha. Also they will bear fruit. Shamadhi. Now if we do not have moksha, why am I attending Zoom classes? It will be a more academic, intellectual approach. I am just curious. What are Shankaracharya's thoughts on Viveka Chudamani? What is the post-Shankara period all about? Pre-Shankaracharya? So there are a lot of such university disciplines all over the world where they study, get degrees. But there is no mukshutvam. So this mumukshutvam and vairagyam, Adi Shankaracharya takes them in this verse and says they are very important. And when these 2 are there, everything else will fall into place and will deliver the goods. Will bear fruit and they will be moksha siddhi. Take the example of your teenage son. Supposing you have a teenager who is an ardent fan of cricket. So is watching IPL cricket and or Olympic chess or whatever. He's so fascinated that he's not worried whether it's day or night. He will eat whatever is provided. There is ekagrata, there is samadhanam, and there is so much focus. Because why? There is a value for cricket. So same thing Acharya says, that if one has really the desire for freedom, the value for moksha, then everything else will fall into place. That tivrata will be there. Now Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gives the famous examples for what is tivra mumukshatvam. When, let us suppose, hypothetical situation, one's hair is on fire. What will we do? Will we inquire about how did it, catch fire? No. One will only look for one thing, the nearest water body, source of water to put it out. Or another example is when, we are underwater, 1 minute over, 2 minutes over. What is the one thing that one wants? Air. Gasping for air. So that is called the tivra mumukshatvam. So when the dosha darshanam, vairagyam, everything is in place, then I have a value, such a tivra value for moksha, then everything will be phalavantaha and arthavantaha for such a person. Now we may think that, these fourfold qualifications is very intense, is very advanced, it's only meant for Nachiketa or Vivekananda. No, that is not true, because everyone is qualified in some way or the other. Otherwise, we cannot even log in to a session. We would not have studied the Bhagavad Gita or Prakaranas, no? So we all have some measure of sadhana chatushtayam. And Adi Shankaracharya is only pointing out how to improve upon these qualities. Yeah? And all are qualified. So obstacles, will be there. Obstacle-free, stress-free life, it's only there in fairy tales. Yeah? And especially for a mumukshu, it is said there will be obstacles. But if the Guru Kripa is there, then even the obstacles can be taken care of. One can easily overcome all the difficulties if that vinishchaya is there, that understanding, that value for this pursuit is there, then the Guru Kripa will take care of all the factors. Now let us see one more shloka, the 30th shloka. Etayor mandata yatra viraktatva mumukshayoho marao salilavat tatra shamade bhana matrata. Etayor mandata yatra viraktatva mumukshayoho marao salilavat tatra shamade bhana matrata. I had introduced the one term called Anvaya Vyatireka earlier. So Anvaya means co-presence. Yeah, and Vyatireka means co-absence. So far Acharya has said, when mumukshutvam and vairagyam are there, everything will become fruitful and meaningful, arthavanta, phalavanta. But when both are not there, then what happens? That is what the shloka is about. Etayoho mandata yatra viraktatva mumukshayoho. Etayoho, if these two are manda, manda means feeble, not up to a good level. Which two? Virakti, which is vairagyam, and mumukshutvam. That's that word. Viraktatva mumukshayoho, etayoho. If these two are lacking, they are feeble, lukewarm, then what is the situation? Marau salilavat tatra shamade bhana matrata. So then, all these shamadamadi gunas, the Shatka Sampattihi, they will be what? Bhana Matrameva. Bhana Matra means just a show, just an appearance. They will not really help in achieving the goal. If the Vairagyam and Mumukshutvam is not of a fair degree, if they are Manda. Now, an example is given. Marau Salilavat. Salila means water and Marau means mirage in the desert sand. Now, the mirage waters, are they useful? No, we cannot wash our hands or quench our thirst. So, they are only an appearance. Marau Salilavat is an appearance. So too, the Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi, they will be only an appearance. There will be only some kind of adornment. But there will be not much use. Yeah? Fruitless. So moksha is not gained. So this shloka is talking about when both mukshutvam and vairagyam is lacking, then again the approach is casual and one will not achieve the result. And earlier on it was said when they are both present, then everything becomes phalavantaha and arthavantaha. Okay? So that is why we have to strive hard for developing all these qualities. Yeah, we need the Guru Kripa and we need Atma Kripa, Ishvara Kripa. And so that prayer which we saw in Kamalaja Daitashtakam, remember the chorus line there? Shuddham Vidyam Cha Buddhim Kamalaja Daite Sattvaram Dehi Mahyam. Shuddham Vidyam Cha Buddhim Kamalaja Daite Sattvaram Dehi Mahyam. So we saw 8 verses, and as a prayer verses to the consort of Brahmadev Saraswati, Kamalaja Daita. Please bless me immediately, right now, Sattvaram, with what? Shuddha Vidya, that is Moksha Vidya, and Buddhi, Chitta Shuddhi. So, Chitta Shuddhi, unless Chitta Shuddhi is there, there will not be Viveka. Then Viveka is lacking, there won't be Vairagyam. And so on. Shamaha will not lead to Damaha, Uparatihi, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, and so on. But if Mukshutvam is there, Acharya says, if the value for moksha is there, then all the others will be enhanced. There will be Guru Prapti and Guru Kripa also, and one will gain the result in time. So let us chant these new shlokas once again, and you can reflect upon the meaning. 27. Ahankaradi dehantan bandhana kalpitan swaswarupavabodhena moktumichhamu mukshutam. Mandamadhyamarupapi vairagyena samadhina prasada guru seyam pravriddha suyate phalam. Vairagyam cha mumukshutvam tivram yasya tu vidyate asminnevarthavantasyuhu phalavantasyamadayah. Etayormandata yatra viraktattvamumukshayoho marao salilavat tatra shamade bhanamatrata. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.